Okay, so you've heard some examples there. Now let's deep dive into the Boss MS-3 editing software and show you what's going on here and how I went about getting 7-tap delay, very close to the Allan Holdsworth Yamaha UD-STOMP 8-tap delay unit that was his patented sound for a long time. And here's how we're doing that. So I have on foot switch number 4 set up to change all 8 of my assigns at once within the different delay effects, effects 1, effects 2, reverb, and delay. And that goes between my lead sound and the swell sound with the volume expression pedal. Okay, So you can see here in this snapshot view of all of the effects parameters at once, them changing over. So this is the lead patch that also engages, I should point out, loop 1, which has my overdrive, which in this case is a OCD and a bad monkey stacked together. And in the front end I have the mini gravity compressor, but I'll digress about that, because really the sound and the focus of this video is the delay settings that Allan used. So okay, I'm going to jump over to the assigns now. You've seen this work in action, and maybe grab some screenshots if you wanted to on that. So how did I get 7 tap delays? Let's go ahead and look at that. It's not a super huge mystery or trick. Maybe it is. It involves a few things. Number one, knowing that the reverb can actually be used as a delay. So that's, I guess, trick number one. And then also knowing that the sub delay setting of pan is a stereo delay. So if we hear that, effects 1 is the super tight 40 millisecond, and then subdivided by the tap to match his parameters from the PDF of the Yamaha delay settings. We're using this tap time. It can be 50%, 75%, wherever, to get the other delay sound. If we look at effects 2, this is the second tight delay that's used in the lead patch, and I'm switching that one over to a longer delay. If we look at the swell patch number 1, let's see, 463 on the right. So the left, according to this, was 350 milliseconds. And so I just approximated setting this at 80 to get that division. Okay, so that's how the tap time works. When this is set to your milliseconds, this would be the longer of the two. Okay. All right. And then, so those are 2 stereo delays happening there. So we're going to calling that 2 taps, 4 taps. And then we'll skip the reverb for a minute and go to the more advanced delay option in the MS-3, which is, in this case, the dual left-right, which functions really just like the other, except you have some individual controls of feedback and level for each of the 2 taps, similar to the UD-STOMP and all of its super options there, including modulation, which we cannot do on the delays, not taking into account the modulation delay patch, which I'm not using here. And I have a little bit of chorus on the end for the clean swell sound that I can turn on or off here. A stereo chorus just at the tail end with sort of low depth and effect level, if I wanted to bring that on there to get even a little closer to his sound. So here's with everything. So the dual left-right is again mimicking the parameters for both the swell and the lead. Changing over there. Level for the swell is double. And then lastly, to get one more tap, I'm using the reverb with a delay setting. Yeah, so that's 7 taps total, which I would say this is incredible, awesome sounds that I've really enjoyed. Thanks to the man here. And pretty unique the way he used the layering with that Yamaha unit. Okay, so I think it was a bit obvious that we were tapping out, no pun intended, all our DSP resources and our available effects for that to get that 7 tap. So here's one with the 4 tap delay using effects to sub delay pan and then the dual left right, a long plate on the end, some chorus, and one of Allan's sounds, which is octave up pitch shift swell. Here's those parameters, and here's how that sounds. I will say one of the things that I'm noticing, a little bit of sort of feedback into itself, with one delay feeding into the next in a series chain. But, you know, the main thing was I just wanted to see here what we could maximize with getting some multi-ping pong tap delay different times. So that was pretty fun to actually get 7. And then, you know, even just 4 if you want to use some of your other effects that you want with effects 1 and still have a reverb. Like I said, you can get a 4 tap delay out of the sub delay pan and the delay dual left right. So obviously this is a stereo rig, and it's running into 2 cabinets mic'd in the ISO booth with the real world air pushing into microphones into my board here. Okay, so we ran through some of the patches emulating the Yamaha UD-STOMP. Wonderful Allan sounds. So now I want to show you a few of mine multi-tap sounds. This one is actually based off of my Digitech Valve Effects Tibet Dream patch, which had a 4 tap delay in parallel. So here I've set up a 6 tap actually delay, and I'm going to show you some interesting things happening there that are maybe a little surprising how I'm using it. But here's how it sounds. Okay, so this one is first delay is actually I'm using the pitch shifter, the 2 stereo mode of the pitch shifter. And instead of changing the pitches of the 2, I'm actually using a unison. Here the level on those is 35, And each of the two of these is a double of the dry direct signal, and I set it using a delay on each one of those so that you hear it on either side. And here's this by itself, like a slapback, but in stereo. And then actually this can detune a little bit. I believe that's on the feedback, but the feedback is set to 0 in this case. So it's kind of a thickener, almost like a chorus, but really a slapback. So then also on this sound I have a pan, stereo pan, auto, set to auto. And then we get into the other 4 taps of delay, which is 2 taps on the sub delay, which looks like 750, and then the tap time subdivides that for the first tap on the left to be half of 750 milliseconds. That's at 50%. And then we got a long delay, dual left, right. Here's those settings. Very large, that one. Oh heck, let's throw some reverb on too. Huge. Okay, so here's another 6-tap delay that is called Overlord, and there's also a little tricky thing going on here with this one. It's a little different as well. So actually I'll run through this one first. So we are using again the pitch shifter as a delay unit. So again, they're both set to unison here. That's at 0. 12 will be an octave higher, 12 will be an octave lower. And then to have it as a delay, we set the feedback. So the pre-delay sets the delay time of the first pitch, and this sets the delay time of the second pitch. This fine setting can actually modulate, detune a little bit along with the feedback. And then I find that the slow mode is the tightest pitch tracking, actually. It's most accurate, but in this case has a unison, so that works fine. So that's actually using pitch shifter as a delay. Okay, quite a bit of feedback there, and that's in stereo with a real quick left right. Again, I use the pan here, stereo pan. Now we're getting into a little funkiness here, which is the overtone. Which has a sustain and adds a lower and an upper pitches, very much like an organ. That I'll show another example with the lead patch after this in a little bit. Then our delays, again, another delay. This is the other last 2 taps is the stereo dual left right. And again, I don't need to re-explain this over and over again. And I believe reverb was set on this one as well with a modulation reverb. So here's how this goes. Pretty cool. All right, let's get even freakier with this idea here of using the pitch shifter as a delay. In this case, I'm actually going to use it to change some pitch as well. So actually, let me just play this first. Let's turn everything on here. And here's how this sounds. the expression pedal to change some pitch here. What's going on there? So I'm actually using two instances of the same effect. I'm using the pitch shifter to stereo twice, so there's 4 taps going on here. And I'm using the pedal to send one pitch down an octave, one pitch up an octave, and on the other one, everything reversed. One up an octave, down an octave on the other side. So it's glitching out there just because it can't show more than one thing at the time, but you can see it here on the screen that shows all the parameters. So there's some 4-tap delays with pitch going on as well. And then the rest of the sound had chorus, dual delay, lefty righty, and reverb. There you go. Throw your DL4 looper in there on that one and freak out for days. Okay, so that lead patch sound is a 4-tap delay with an additional twist. So that's using the pitch shifter as described in the earlier clean sound, set to stereo, the 2 stereo setting, which has 2 additional pitches which are set to unison, and then we add some delay to those so that they are on both sides, left and right, sort of like a slapback delay. Okay, and then the long delay. And what I've added to this one is the overtone, which is kind of like a keyboard, almost like a Hammond organ sound, but it gives a lower octave and a little upper with some modulation on it that just thickens it up. A little spice there to throw in for you. Okay, so this last one is what I call 5-voice shift. And this is a 6-tap delay. Alright, so lots going on here. Again, I'm using the pitch shifter in unison, and that is 2 unisons with a spread delay left and right with feedback. And also using this fine setting to add that modulation on the repeats, on the feedback. And then a second instance of that where the delays are spread in a staggered stance there compared to the first instance. Okay, and then we got the stereo pan, a long delay, and a modulation reverb. Trails. All right, Boss MS-3 deep dive, multi-tap delays. There you go. So a few final thoughts, quick. It was an absolute blast doing the Allan Holdsworth sounds, trying to see what I could get, how close I could get to them with this Boss unit, and it was a lot of fun, and I think there's some usable stuff there. One of the main things that is very apparent is that any multi-effects unit that can do parallel multi-tap delays is advantageous compared to in series. So while I was able to achieve all kinds of amazing things with this, when you get into the 6 and 8 taps, that can get a little messy feeding into itself in a series. But 4 tap delays and 6 at the end clean examples there, I thought they were great, and it really satisfies my craving for what I used to have with the Digitech delays, which actually back in '95 the Digitech Valve Effects had a 4-tap delay in parallel, and the Boss MS-3 has a 2-tap delay. But incredible stuff. So we were able to achieve a lot with that. I hope it helped you out and maybe inspires you to get some new sounds. And for all the haters that say the delays suck in this unit, I totally get what you're saying. I understand. But maybe you saw this and maybe you think about it a little bit more, because there's no limit to these devices. Sometimes it's just your creativity and the way you think about it. So I was happy with some of the results I achieved. So see you next time.